We're joined now by 2005 Champions League winner with Liverpool. It's Didi Hamann. Good morning.
Morning, Didi.
Morning,
Didi.
Morning, guys.
Morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Talk to us about that game. Where do you think it went wrong for Liverpool?
Well, I think what he saw yesterday again is that they're not able to compensate for the players they're missing, and the key players have been to the World Cup. They may suffer, a little bit from mental fatigue. If you look at Konate, if you look at Fabinho's, he's been off colour for most of the season now, and the other players are just not able to carry the team at the moment.
What did you think, Didi, of Jurgen Klopps' comments saying that Brentford were just sort of very good at the dark arts?
Well, stretching and pushing, I don't think that's stretching the rules. It's part of the game. And I think Liverpool has always been good at, doing what they had to do to win football games in the last 5 years. And, if you look at them now, I think they show everything they haven't been for the last 5 years, because they look flat, they look one-dimensional, they look tired at times. And obviously, you've got to be alert and aware when it comes to set pieces. And that's always been one of their strengths, to not give much away and to use the odd corner or free kick to score a goal themselves. And, I think he's just very frustrated at the moment what's going on.
Didi, defensively, do you feel I always felt as though with Liverpool, if they get a goal, in their pomp a couple of years ago, if they got a goal against you, you're never getting a chance to score against them. I mean, I've watched their last couple of games and and they always look as though they're going to ship a chance. They won down at Villa 3-1, but Villa could have scored 4.
Yeah, and I think game management was always one of their strengths. As you say, they always knew what to do at the right time, but obviously you depend on players being in form, and the main culprit, I'd say, is probably Fabinho, because he's not been that defensive shield that he has been over the last few years. And when the back four haven't got any protection, then obviously you give away chances. They've got two very offensive fullbacks. We know that, so it's even more important that the middle is shut and the middle is solid. And in Fabinho, who's not been the same for the last 6-7 months, in Thiago, you've got a player who likes to play with the ball. I don't think Liverpool is good enough at the moment to have Thiago in their team. And Harvey Elliott is a very promising player. But obviously, when things are not going well, it's very hard for a young lad to make the difference.
How much difference do you think Cody Gakpo will bring?
Well, it depends where he's going to play. Obviously, Oxlade-Chamberlain is in the team at the moment. He's done okay over the last few games because they haven't got any options. I would like to see him ahead of maybe Fabinho and Henderson. I would like to see him as a number 10, somebody who roams around, who's got the freedom to do what he wants to do. Because what they badly lack, and they lack it now for a number of years, is goals from midfield. The midfielders don't look like scoring. If the defenders don't score or the front three don't score, Liverpool won't score. And unless they get a couple of own goals, as they did against Leicester, and I think the lack of goals from midfield is a big issue for Liverpool.
Didi, do you think the opposition's managers have had a good look at Liverpool, and it's a combination of both, where there's a lot more balls going in the back of them, over the top? Or do you think it's the sieve midfield that's causing the problem?
Well, I think the biggest issue is that Liverpool is not the same team as it was last year or 2 years ago. And what he saw against Villa, Dean Stewart just mentioned it, Villa could have had 3 or 4 goals. In the first half hour after half-time against Villa, you saw that it doesn't take an awful lot to cause Liverpool problems, because if you're aggressive, if you control midfield, which is, I think, rather easy at the moment against Liverpool, because I think they're too lightweight in midfield, then you will get chances. And the biggest issue, as I said, I think Liverpool is not the same team, because teams tried for the last 4 or 5 years to find ways to beat Liverpool, and they couldn't. But the fact is that at the moment they just look a team. And they look nothing like the team they were over the last 4 or 5 years.
How do you feel Klopp is at the moment? Because he obviously sounds quite frustrated, and you have a lot of criticism coming from a lot of different directions. Are you confident that he can make top 4 this season, bring Liverpool forward again?
Well, they've got a chance. Obviously, I think if you go back 2.5-3 months, I think things probably looked bleaker than they do now. They won 4 on the spin. Obviously, it was a setback yesterday. and they've got a chance. I think it'll be very tough to finish in the top 4 because the way Newcastle is going at the moment, you feel that Arsenal, City, and Newcastle might be gone, and then it's a race between 16 other teams and Liverpool to win that mini league of 17 because three positions seem occupied. The question is, because I think they need a rebuild, or he needs to build a new team, and the question will be: has he got the desire? Has he got the hunger? And has he got the energy to do that? Because they haven't got the financial power other teams have got. The manager worked wonders with a net spend he's had over the last 5 or 6 seasons. But the times have changed again in the last 4 or 5 years. So players who cost 30 million 5 years ago, they cost 70 or 80 million these days. And Liverpool is just not prepared to do that. And the question is, has he got the desire? Has he got the hunger? Has he got the energy to think with a financial differences between the top teams to compete over the next few years? They might get in the top 4, but then again, moving forward, because at the moment where they are, I think this is how good they are. At the moment, they are probably not a top 4 team. At the moment, they're probably a top 6 or top 7 team. And I don't think that's his ambition over the next few years if you were to stay at Liverpool.
Didi, if you had to prioritise 2 positions in Liverpool, not players but positions, what would they be?
Well, it depends on what Fabinho does over the next couple of months, or probably till the end of the season. I think if Fabinho doesn't pick up, you probably need a holding midfielder. And then I think you need an offensive midfielder. I always looked at a player like Troy Linton. I think they need a physical presence in midfield. I think they've got a lot of players in midfield. They're all pretty similar. They can all handle the ball. They're technically very gifted. But I think you also need a physical presence, especially in the Premier League. And if Fabinho doesn't pick up, I would say defensive midfielder and somebody who gets a goal from midfield.
Just a quick one, Didi, on Manchester City. How confident are you that City are going to be the ones to make that gap a lot smaller, overtake Arsenal and win the Premier League again?
Well, it depends what Arsenal does. If Arsenal keep winning their games, it'll be impossible to close the gap. I think there will be a time where Arsenal will have a blip, as they had over the last few years. They look a lot more confident, a lot more solid this season. But I think there will be a time in this season. I think somebody or people make him favourites now, Arsenal. I think there will be a time where the gap will be down to 2 or 3 points, and it's probably a 1-game swing in it. I don't think it'll be straightforward for Arsenal. I don't think the way it's going at the moment, it's brilliant. They play brilliant football. But the best teams, you see how good they are when they lose a game or 2, and I think that time will come. So I think it's far from over.
Didi, one of your old clubs as well, Newcastle. How impressed have you been with them this year?
Oh, brilliant! And I think what they've done, they didn't spend stupid money. I think in Bobman they brought a very good player in. Guimaraes has been outstanding. And they didn't bring these big names in because when you have money, sometimes you can attract the wrong players who come for the money. But I think they've been very careful. They've been very sensible about it. And they play very good football. So Eddie Howe is doing a brilliant job. And, I think if nothing too serious happens, I think we might see them or will see them in the Champions League next season.
Wow, imagine that.
If they really wanted to, they could just go and get Bellingham and Rice, couldn't they? Newcastle.
Well, it depends because they've still got to play within the realms of financial fair play, haven't they? And what would Bellingham cost at the moment, do you think?
120 million. 100 for Declan Rice.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, isn't it?
The thing is, you've got to convince those players you can give them Champions League football. So to do that, they've probably got to finish in the Champions League places first.
So
and then sell the club to them afterwards.
Maybe checking out the next.
Who else you played for, Didi? We can get on next.
I think that's about it.
What about Germany?
We don't talk about Germany now.
Yeah, let me know. It's a touchy subject. Didi, lovely to speak to you. Thank you very much. Take care, mate.
Thanks, Didi.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Didi.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Didi Hamann there on talkSPORT Breakfast.